The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He missed the pit complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The Champion Motorsports GT3 Endurance Series has been an fierce battle between the drivers thus far. With more than 30 cars on track at each of the previous two races at Circuit of the Americas and Mount Panorama Bathurst, we saw 6 different drivers stand on the podiums at the end of these races. Round 3 brings us to the fabled Monza circuit in Italy, and once again we will see battles between the fabulous GT3 cars, the BMW, the Ford, the McLaren, and of course the Roof. The broadcast is coming to you live on the Global Sim Racing channel. I am Richard Losper, and with me in the broadcast booth is Kevin Brown. Our director is Joe Peak, and our camera sets are provided as usual by Dougie Beard. Well, Kevin, good day to you. Tell us a little bit about this, as I called it, fabled track, Monza.
Good evening, Richard. And yeah, fabled is a good way to describe it. Seems like Monza's been around since the beginning of road racing, and it has seen the greats race here and all the great manufacturers as well. It used to be a lot longer and a lot faster, but they've slowed it down in the name of safety to try and cut down on the accidents. And the end result is you have about 3 right-hand corners and 3 chicanes, and it is not an easy track. Huge, long straightaways that you can draft on, and these very, very tight chicanes. And then, of course, you've got these the very, very fast and treacherous Parabolica and the 2 Lesmo corners, which are seemingly impossible every time I go around them. But to give you a sense of what it's like to drive the track, we have a lap for you right here.
Alright, we've got Kevin Brown in the GSRC Z4, so let's do a lap around Monza. Coming down to the Retifilia chicane, it's a huge braking zone, and with the draft, this means it'll be a great passing opportunity. But you really want to get it done before you're into the corner, because it's extremely tight, and too wide usually doesn't end well. Expect a huge traffic jam here on lap 1. From there, we enter the gentle Curva Grande, which will be flat out in these GT3 cars. Just minimize your steering input, and once again, if you're close, the draft will start to take effect. Once you're out of the corner, drift back to the right and line the car up to get ready for the Della Roggia chicane. If you overshoot it, it's going to be bad news because of the sleeping policeman speed bumps scattered all over the runoff. Likewise, if you exit a little too hot, there's a big old gravel trap ready to ruin your speed. Precision will pay off here. Then it's a short burst to the first Lesmo. There's a fair bit of camber here, but it's deceiving because it's a late apex corner and easy to come in too shallow. Then there's not much time before the second Lesmo. This one is a quick flick, but also a critical spot to nail the exit. It's followed by a long, flat-out stretch where the guy behind will be eager to outgun you. Just a slight bend to the left, a dip below the old oval, and we're getting ready for the Ascari chicane. This one is very different from the previous two in that it's quite a bit faster and has 3 apexes to worry about. Once again, there's large inside curbs that will punish you if you get too greedy. As you come off the end, make sure to use as much of the runoff as you can, since it's all considered inbounds and there's a fair ways until the Parabolica. This is another possible place to set up a pass. But in these modern cars, this isn't a terribly slow corner. You've got to make sure you own the apex so you don't get chopped off by your opponent. Besides, a more clever driver might be looking to focus on getting a good run out of the corner, since the front stretch is much longer and offers a more definitive place to overtake. Let the car drift off to the left on this super wide straightaway and wave to the Tifosi as you complete your lap around Monza.
Welcome back, folks. As you can see, Kevin said that this is not an easy track to negotiate, and he is quite right. It looks easy, but of course it is very, very tricky. Well, Kevin, let us have a look at the standing so far. We know that there have been 2 races to date in this endurance series, and if we look at the top 5 in the pro standings, we have Arthur Hermom up at the top of the standings in first position, and behind him, just 1 point, is Drew Lidke. Actually, that's a little strange there. I think they both on the same amount of points, 54 points each for Arthur and Drew Litke. Tom Rathy is 1 point back, and he is in third position. Umberto Roca in fourth position, and he has got 43 points back, 11 points behind the leader. And in fifth place, Kevin, Dujan Boldrin.
And in the Pro-Am Cup, this is limited to drivers who are under 1600 I rating or as otherwise defined by series admins. Being led by Tim Collier, sitting on 52 points. Behind him, 12 back, is Troy Fagan. Peter Hebron, 15 behind the leader. Anthony James in fourth. And tied with him is Jay Friels. That's your top five, Richard.
Yes, sir. And as far as the teams are concerned, Can-Am Racing on 106 points leads the way. 19 points back we have Puffin Racing Pro, and then in third place 8 or 80 Orange, fourth place 8 or 80 Red. Those are the 4 GTs. And in fifth place, Kevin, Puffin Racing AM. I guess that's the amateur class. Right.
So this is going to be an interesting race tonight. We saw last season in the Champion Sprint Series some big fireworks explode at the end of lap one when they got into the first chicane for the second time. Ended at least one driver's career in Champion Motorsports, unfortunately. So got to see if that's going to happen again today. There can be a lot of shenanigans, if you will, going on here at Monza. There were definitely a lot in the Blancpain Endurance Series, and especially in one race that I encountered a 4 wide through Curva Grande in the opening lap. So hopefully these guys are a little more sane today and can keep their cars clean, because an hour and 40 minutes not necessarily going to be the easiest thing to do out here.
Well, that's correct. And let's talk about the orange zone here. That is supposed to quiet things down, at least on lap 1. So the orange zone is an outlined area on the track during the first lap. This zone must be regarded as a pass with extreme caution during the first lap of any race. Should an incident occur because a driver chooses to attempt a pass within this orange zone, the driver initiating the pass will likely be held responsible. So Kevin, today's orange zone is from the start finish line to the exit of turn 5. That is after the first chicane. One would hope that is sufficient.
It's after the second chicane. After the second chicane.
Correct. Actually, I meant to say second chicane. If I said first, I was totally incorrect there. The second chicane. So that should give everyone an opportunity to settle down and get their minds ready to race after they exit the second chicane. Let's hope that's the case and we don't have a repeat of last season in the sprint race, Kevin.
Yeah, for sure. And, with the rolling start that they're going to have here, hopefully guys will be able to spread out a little bit. So the orange zone takes them through the second chicane, and then it's very, very difficult to pass between the second chicane and Lesmo 1. It can be done. It's just tough to do. But the problem is that the draft here is so big. You pick up that draft about a second and a half, and you can just slingshot like crazy with these huge high top speeds that even still going into the first chicane the second time and the second chicane the second time, there very well can still be shenanigans. That's what we saw last season. Hopefully these guys learned their lesson last time around and they can be a little cleaner, because that braking zone sure comes up early when you're in the draft.
Yeah. Well, we've got a smallish field today. 18 cars registered for the race here at the moment. Everyone seems to have posted a qualifying time, excepting for Jason Lundy at this stage hasn't posted a qualifying time. Let's just have a look at the weather here. The weather, to say the least, Kevin, is ugly today. 89 degrees. The air temperature, the track temperature, 116 degrees Fahrenheit in American speak. And wow, we've got winds at northeast 6 miles per hour. The humidity is 64% and it's a clear sky. So this is going to make things very tough for these drivers.
Yeah, it should be a bit of a greasy track, so probably a little difficult getting the power down. Cars probably don't want to turn in very well. But one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on, and I don't know how much it's going to affect, but the McLaren sees some really, really hot water temperatures here, some high water temperatures, I should say, at Monza. And if these guys are running map 2 in the McLaren, which they might because to save fuel, then the temperatures get even higher. And let me tell you, during the Blancpain Endurance Series, we were dealing a lot with high water temperatures and having that alert constantly in our face telling us high water temperatures, and that was in weather that was almost 10 degrees cooler than this. So these McLaren guys, they need to be careful. They could very well blow their motors from high water temperatures today, Richard.
Yeah, just I hope they do know that. But then, of course, these guys are fairly experienced drivers. They've been in this series for a couple of seasons now, and of course no doubt many of them do race in other series as well as perhaps the official series. A lot of these guys I'm pretty sure we'll see in the Blancpain series. So the qualifying at this point in time, there's not a lot of time left, about just over a minute left for qualifying. We will bring the results of that qualifying to you when qualifying has completed. But Kevin, the cars here, besides the McLaren, what car do you fancy as being the strong one? Is it the roof today, do you think?
Yeah, the roof and the McLaren have the advantages here. The BMW just too much frontal area, slow on the straightaways. The Ford just a little down on power here as well. But the roof has got a lot of power to go and really has that advantage. And the McLaren also has a lot of top-end speed here as well. So the McLaren and the roof probably the better advantage. I think the roof's a little better under braking and gets off the corners a little better than the McLaren can. So I would say overall the roof is probably the way to go.
Alrighty. Well, the checkered flag is out. Qualifying is ended. There will be, let's have a quick look on the track to see if anyone is finishing off hot laps. Doesn't look like it to me. So that means we will be able to go ahead and call out the grid for you. So, starting in position number 1, who else but Umberto Roca, with a time of 1 minute 49.135. In second position, Miguel Alcrudo. Third position, we have Victor Tanaka. Fourth position, Jarrett Lawson. Fifth position, Paul Darling. And sixth position, held down by Drew Lidke. Kevin?
In seventh is Tom Ratchey. Tim Collier in 8th place. And I think he is the Pro-Am pole sitter. In 9th is James Hume. 10th, Anthony M. James. 11th, Darian Bailey, who is new to me. 12th is Troy Fagan. Richard?
Yes, Darian is certainly a new driver to me as well. Pace car is out on track at the moment, getting ready to take them around. But let's continue on. In 13th place, we have Rick D. Smith. Then we have Warren McGarry in 14th place. Jay Dargett in 15th. Peter Hebron in 16th place. 17th place, Kyle Heron. And two drivers, by the looks of it, Kevin, Ryan Bird and Jason Lundy, did not post a qualifying time.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing either of them on the grid, so I think that they are giving this race a miss. I'm under the impression that Jason Lundy has had some real-life commitments in the way, so maybe that's why we're not seeing him. Just wasn't able to get the practice in to actually run a clean race tonight.
Alrighty, well, we're waiting for the pace car to take off. Just about all of the drivers are on the grid right now. There's one space that I can see towards the rear there. Just in front of, there he is. That is Jay Dargett. He's taken the grid. And the pace car still sitting there waiting for everybody to be on the track, and will take off momentarily. There we go. Pace car is on the move, Kevin.
And it's a quick run up through the Ascari chicane and then into Parabolica, and away we will go. So not a lot of time here behind the pace car with this abbreviated formation lap.
And do remember, folks, the orange zone is in effect, so really the idea is no overtaking until they pass through the second chicane. Umberto Roca in the pole position, leading them off behind the pace car in a roof. Behind him, Miguel El Crudo also in a roof as the pace car heads up towards the Parabolica right now. Victor Tanaka, Kevin, am I correct in saying Victor Tanaka was involved in last season's situation there with Paquin?
I believe so, but I never saw any resolution one way or another. And we should actually point out, remember we had some hijinks the last round here, and no driver warnings or penalties today. Everybody's on a clean sheet of paper.
Yes, that is correct. No driver warnings. One more thing to take note of, 65% fuel, which means a couple of pit stops involve 1 hour and 40 minutes of racing. There goes the pace car off the track, and we're waiting for the green light now. Everyone's still quite slow at this point in time. Umberto Roca ready to start this race off. We will get the green flag. There it is, and Umberto Roca takes off. In second place, a bit slow there from Miguel El Crudo. Maybe he thought that everybody would stay in line. Not the case. Victor Tanaka overtakes him, and it's a safe overtake. Now he repeats the process, overtakes as well, gets the position back there. Kevin, how's it looking towards the rear?
Well, Jason Lundy did show up and nearly cleaned out his Pro-Am teammate Kyle Herron in the Pro Racing Am car in the back of the field. Lundy already up 3 spots, but it's clean in the back, Richard.
And up front here, Paul Darling has executed an overtaking maneuver as well. They are racing, coming up to the second chicane now. Victor Tanaka looking on the inside, gets the third position back. That's where he started. And Paul Darling gave it up, and now they are racing for real. Just behind Paul Darling, we have Jarrett Lawson. Jarrett Lawson looking to overtake. They come together, and there is our first contact for the day.
Yep, still keeping an eye on the back. Everybody else is clean. Oh, there's a spun roof. Is that who you're...
Jarrett Lawson, that was the contact that took place between Lawson and Darling. Darling got away with it. Jarrett Lawson stayed stationary until everyone passed. Now he has resumed racing, and he's lost all the position that he might have had, probably sitting in last place right now. Back to the front there, Umberto Roca leading the race. They are racing for real now on lap 2. Miguel El Crudo looking to try and get on terms with Umberto as they go down towards the Parabolica very, very fast. Going in there now. Let's see how they go around here. They do it quite nicely, quite safely as well. Victor Tanaka a little ways back as well. And Jarrett Lawson gone. Paul Darling still in there. The car off the track, or certainly went very, very wide. And
yeah, that was
Jason Lundy, I'm hearing. Go ahead, Kevin.
That was Jason Lundy going deep. He had Jay Dardert on the inside of him, and Lundy just went deep into Parabolica, recovered though, and currently sitting in 13th position, just got passed by Troy Fagan, Richard.
And the leaders currently are in fact coming through they passed the first chicane. They're heading down towards the second chicane. It's still Umberto Roca. Miguel El Crudo has made up some ground on certainly on Umberto right now as they go through the second chicane. Miguel looking good there. Umberto sliding around a little bit. Must be the tires bedding in at this stage. Very hot here today, Kevin, so no surprise that these guys are going to do some slipping and sliding today.
Yeah, for sure, and they're going to keep slipping and sliding for the rest of this race. If I believe my guessing is right here. This track just so hot, and I think we might be seeing a little bit of that right now. Got drivers struggling with those grip levels, trying to get the car to turn in and get the power down.
Yeah, top 3 drivers are basically nothing between them at the moment as they go through the third chicane, that very, very fast one. Is that the Curva Grande? I'm missing out on my names here.
Curva Grande is the big, long, fast right after the first chicane, so no.
And here we have an overtaking attempt here from Victor Tanaka, and that is on Miguel El Crudo. They come to the braking zone. Tanaka's got the inside. He manages to hold it on the inside. It was given up by Miguel El Crudo. He gets a better exit than Tanaka, but Tanaka responds, and Tanaka moves up into second place.
And this is why I don't like passing into the Parabolica, because you just set yourself up for getting repass here. As long as El Crudo didn't screw up his entry into the Parabolica, this should be easy to do. But no, El Crudo, he's on the brakes early, doesn't want anything to do with it. So I guess he's content to stay in the draft a little bit. One thing we do have to wonder is how much fuel saving do these guys need to do? It's going to be close to make it on just 2 stops. So not sure, they may be able to conserve and keep it on 2 stops. Otherwise, they're probably going to have to come in for a 3rd stop.
Right. Okay, that's very interesting. So we'll see how these guys respond to that. Now, Tom Rathie has fallen off from the top 3 in the BMW. You had made mention earlier, Kevin, that the BMWs are not that good around here, and it seems to show. He's the first place BMW, but he's a long way from the top 3.
Well, I wonder, did he get held up in that contact between Jarrett Lawson and Paul Darling? Is that
Possible.
why there's the big gap? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only thing that
very
makes
possible.
sense. Yeah, and actually I'm looking back, and Tom Ratchey was directly behind that Lawson and Darling contretemps. So that's why there's the big gap. Not so much that the BMW is a little weaker here, though I will say it is. And unfortunately, Ratchey, he's going to have it all to do right now. He's 7 seconds to gain, and in a car that's probably a little weaker than those Roos up front, who naturally, of course, are all in each other's draft too. And we should point out, Ratchey did pick up some damage on his front when he center punched a McLaren in that checkup behind Darling and Lawson.
Okay, guys, battle here between Drew Lidke and the car in front of him. Believe that was Rick Smith. And they're going around the Parabolica now, side by side, basically. McLaren versus McLaren here. And let's see what happens. On the outside, Rick Smith getting a better exit, flying down the straightaway, heading towards the first chicane. And Drew Lidke backs out of it. He doesn't continue on. Now he comes under braking. He's very strong there, but has to pull it up. And just behind him, we have Darian Bailey, the new driver. And a nice little battle developing here, Kevin. Darian, of course, in a BMW.
And I don't know if we can get a good onboard on Darian Bailey. Looking forward to Drew Lidke, but you can see a little bit, not a little bit, but a fair amount of damage on the right rear of Lidke's car and on his rear wing as well. So that was picked up from Tom Ratchey, as we were saying a few minutes ago, in that lap 1 incident. And I don't know how much it's affecting Lidke. I imagine it probably is. He seems to be early on the brakes and struggling a little bit with Rick Smith, whom he's usually much faster than. So I imagine that damage is probably affecting Lidke to some degree.
Yes, I would guess that you are correct there. And great pictures we're getting from the just across the bonnet of Darian Bailey's car. So very nice pictures there. And Darian not slow, but he's under threat at the moment from the driver just behind him, which is Paul Darling. Now, this is uncharacteristic as well, Kevin, for Paul to be so way back. But now he's on the attack. He's on terms with Darian, passes him. He's got in front of him now, he's got Drew Lidke. Is he going to try and overtake him? Yes, he is. Very late under brakes, coming into the Parabolica. Gets a nice tight entry and exits nice and clean there and takes 2 positions in that 1 lap. Now in front of him we have Rick Smith, so Paul Darling on the move at the moment.
And that was all set up by his exit out of Ascari. So important to get a good run out of there. Paul Darling did, and he saw the result. Although Lidke catches up in that draft and makes a strong outrunning move, but Darling very deep onto the brakes, outbrakes himself, has to run through the cutoff there. He's going to get a cut course penalty. Lidke off into the gravel as well. Darian Bailey might be able to make something happen here, but no, he was too slow to the throttle, and now he looks like he's going to try and make it 3 wide of the Curva Grande. Fortunately, they closed ranks and closed Darian Bailey off to keep from anything too silly happening. But Darian Bailey's gotten boxed in behind Lidke into the outside of Paul Darling, but still trying to break it late into Della Roggio. And nope, nothing happened. Paul Darling keeps that one.
Yeah, that was a little risky going into the second chicane there. But hats off to Darian Bailey. He is putting up a very, very good show here for us in his very first race that we know of in this series. Now Paul Darlin has got to do it all over again. Let's have a look at Paul. He is currently coming up behind as they're going towards Ascari. Drew Litke's in front of him. Can he get something done here? He's going to brake a little early. He doesn't want to do it here. He's got plenty of time as they head down towards the Parabolica to make his move. He's got a much better exit out of Ascari. And now he goes to the outside here trying to make a move. It tucks back in on the inside, gets some of that draft, and now goes back to the outside. Kevin is definitely going to try his move on here. Very early braking from Litke.
And we have a battle up front. Roca and Tanaka side by side into the first chicane. Roca on the inside, very, very deep under brakes, is able to slow it down just barely to get the inside. Tanaka taking a more usual line. Roca getting loose, applying the power down, and Tanaka coming back. This was all set up in the last lap. Humberto Roca went deep into Ascari, cut the inside chicane a little bit, and that allowed Tanaka to attack. Tanaka actually took the position away going into Parabolica, and they're side by side again. They barely touched. They must have touched wheels there. Tanaka taking it away from Roca. A much better run from Tanaka this time out.
Well, I've got it. We'll get that on replay and just see what happened there. We see Tanaka following at this point in time. He's following Humberto Roca. We've got a nice wide shot, long shot, currently a little bit hidden by the trees. He's side by side now on the outside. He will have the inside line for the chicane. They come together. There must be a little bit of contact there by the looks of it, but all safe still. And he took the position coming out of the chicane.
And let me tell you, Victor Tanaka immediately put almost 3/4 of a second on Humberto Roca, but Roca picked up a couple of tenths through Ascari. This battle is on, Richard. These guys are in each other's draft. They have pulled away from Miguel Alcrudo, who a couple laps ago blew the braking for turn one, and so they're away from him. He is not in their draft. You can see Tanaka was a week under braking for Parabolica. Humberto Roca much better, and now they're both kind of moving around a little bit on the front straight, trying to one is trying to stay out of the draft, one's trying to stay in the draft.
That's correct. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Paul Darling, Rick Smith battle. They're just coming through the Parabolica now. Paul Darling all over the rear end of Rick Smith, but Rick, on the other hand, doing a great job of staying in front. So this is McLaren versus Roof. You said it, Kevin. The McLaren seems to have a little bit more power going down the straightaways. Darling can't do too much about it. His strength comes from his ability to outbrake the McLaren. Not happening as they attempt the first chicane. Very tough chicane this. Now he's on terms. He's on the outside. He doesn't get a good exit there though. And he's also blinking out a little bit. He's right on the rear of Rick Smith. Can he make it happen here? This is a flat out section of the course. He can't do it. The McLaren puts the power down and gets away from him, heading down towards the second chicane.
Yeah, you called that admirably right there. That McLaren able to use its top end advantage, and it looks like Darling and Smith actually made contact. Smith slow in the middle part of the chicane and caught Darling out by surprise.
Yeah, but, that is correct.
No harm, no foul, I guess. Just a couple of tenths loss for Darling and Lidke. They've got to catch up now.
But have a look at Paul Darling's car. The right-hand side is crushed in. The wheel is actually showing, so he's got significant damage there. Probably that is why he hasn't been able to make such a good attacking move, as he now comes under threat from the car behind him, which is in fact Drew Litke. So Paul Darling with a damaged car, they may be able to get a new car. He still made the overtaking maneuver there on Rick Smith. He is now on the inside. And is he going to make it stick? I believe he may do it. Yes, he does. Good driving, Paul Darling.
And I've been keeping half an eye on this battle up front. Tanaka and Roca, they are absolutely dicing, even though they're... Oh, and Roca very slow through the first chicane. I'm not sure what happened, but loses 2 seconds almost immediately to Tanaka. This was shaping up to be a fascinating battle because Tanaka was doing much more poorly under braking than Roca. Roca was nearly wrecking Tanaka the last couple of laps under braking, and it looked like it was on. But I still don't really understand why was Roca so slow in the middle there.
Well, maybe this track is just more towards. We have information. There's on replay. We have an accident.
Jarrett Lawson in pit lane, trying to see. Oh no, he coming out of the first chicane, he was right up behind Darian Bailey and moved to the outside in Curva Grande to try and pass Darian Bailey, but moved the car too abruptly, caused himself to lose the back end and spun it into the wall. Big heavy damage. He had to get that tow, and he's going to get a new car. Of all the ways to wreck your car, that's one of the more painful ones I've seen.
Yeah, and we saw all of that on the replay. That was a really hard hit there. But this is where the action is, in that middle pack there. These guys are racing hard, and the weather may be catching them out as we see going live now. We're driving with Darian Bailey once again. There's a 4-car train here, Kevin. They are line astern, as Joe likes to say, but something will have to give here. And I must say, the McLarens really have it over the roofs on the straightaways here today.
Yeah, they're doing well. You can see you should have been able to see Paul Darling was able to get by Rick Smith. Now Drew Lidke's on the inside of Rick Smith into Parabolica. Tough to do to go too wide through Parabolica. I don't really like doing it. I like setting up for the exit of the corner and get them on this long pit straight where you can really get into the draft. It's so much easier to do, and you can see them all just pulling on Paul Darling. Those two McLarens and that BMW is just so glad to stay in their draft. But yeah, poor Darian Bailey, he's not really sure what to do. He's not going to be able to outrun these guys on the straightaway probably.
Yeah, very good battle going on there. Now, I want to head back to the front here. Umberto Roca, it seems to me, Kevin, that this is a strategy play. He battled with a little bit with Tanaka, found out that Tanaka was prepared to go all the way to complete the battle and grab the position. Looks to me like, and I could be wrong, this is just my assumption here or my deduction, he's just happy to sit behind Tanaka right now and maybe just save a bit of fuel.
Well, he's definitely been running Humberto's definitely been running faster than Victor Tanaka. He's gained about a second from that 2-second gap he had after that small mistake he made. So Humberto right now is the faster car, and he's in the range where he's going to start getting helped by this draft on Tanaka. So I don't know, this is the part where I'm trying to understand, was Tanaka being aided by being in the draft of Humberto Roca? Is Roca actually the faster car if they're in clean air? These are questions we don't have the answers to yet, Richard, and I want answers now.
Well, I don't have the answer for you, but what I do know is if we go back to the battle between Lidke and Bailey, and in front of Lidke, Smith, and in front of them, Paul Darling, this battle has not abated one little bit, particularly now between Lidke and Smith. Darling got by Smith and is kind of making a getaway at the moment, and Lidke trying to get that position from Rick Smith, and we are talking here about the 9th position, so they're a little way back. And bear in mind, this is a fairly small field. The last two fields, in the last two races, I should say, there were 30 plus cars in the field, but this is only 19 cars. But nonetheless, Kevin, we are having some really good battles here, particularly with these guys in the mid-pack.
Yeah, and I was looking just now at the back of the pack. I should check you up. Ryan Bird, late to the start. He is now out on track, but he is 7 laps down, so it's just kind of pro forma for him, I guess you should say. But Peter Hebron, this one confused me. Peter started, where did he start? Peter started 16th. He's currently running 17th. He was actually up a little bit, but he came into pit lane already, so I think he decided to get his stop out of the way, or at least his little splash and dash. So I think Peter is running an alternate strategy to everybody else. Maybe he wanted to get out of the fun and gains that he was seeing around him, but he is very close behind Kyle Herron. This is for position 16th and 17th.
Meanwhile, in pit lane, we have Jared Lawson. He's basically parked the car there at the moment. So not sure what is going on there. Getting repairs perhaps. There are no quick repairs in this series. Is that correct, Kevin?
No, that is not correct. They get one fast repair in this series.
Alright, so then why is he not out there racing? That is the question I have in my mind. Has he already taken his fast repair? A little strange, unless he's given up and decided not to continue.
Well, yeah, I think he's probably just given up at this point. I know I saw him in at least one the Blancpain Endurance Series races this weekend, which were at Monza. They were 3 hours long. So, like me, he may be a little tired of racing at this track currently. So maybe that's part of it. He just decided he just doesn't want to do laps by himself. But yeah, he should have been able to just check that little box in his dashboard and get a free car. So if he wanted to be out there, I think he should be able to be out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just recap the positions for the viewers here. We're on lap number 11 at this point in time. Elapsed time is about 23 minutes in the race so far. They've got an hour and 40 minutes of racing. So a very, very long time to go still in the race. First place is being held down at this point by Victor Tanaka. Umberto Roca is now just seems to be rattling off the laps. They're not particularly pushing. Maybe Tanaka is pushing to try and get a gap, but Roca in second place, they're certainly just looking comfortable. And then behind them, about 4 seconds back from the leader, so a couple of seconds off from Umberto Roca, we have Miguel El Crudo. Miguel started off in second place. He's currently in third place. Once again, it looks as if he's just doing his thing by himself. In fourth place, Kevin, we've got Tom Rathy. Tom Rathy is 18 seconds back, so that's the big drop off. The first three are within 5-6 seconds of each other, but then we have a long gap back to Tom Rathy in the fourth
position.
And
there's a wreck. Tim Collier. Yep, and he was trying to pass James Hume into Parabolica, got loose on the inside there and spun it into the wall. Made contact with the wall, not heavy contact. I'm seeing a little bit of damage on the right front. That's going to spoil the aero on these very sensitive McLarens, sensitive to their aero dependency, I should say. And he's lost a couple spots, and now he has this battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th catching up behind him. As you see, Rick Smith fighting back on Drew Lidke. Lidke had taken that position away from Rick Smith. Rick Smith takes it back. This is the best run I've seen from Rick Smith in a long time, and I just put the commentator's curse on him instantly as he gets loose out of the first chicane. Loses position to Drew Lidke. It looks like Darian Bailey's going to try and take it away. They almost touch in Curva Grande. Jason Lundy behind them is saying, please don't hit each other and spin right in front of me. I don't want it to happen.
They do touch, and wow, Bailey touched Rick Smith there. We'll get a replay of that. Rick Smith's still going, but of course they got into Lidke as well, who was ahead of them.
Oh boy, talk about commentator's curse. Oh man, Rick Smith coming back down onto the racing line. Darian Bailey was already there. They made contact, and Rick Smith out onto the grass in the braking zone. Nothing he could do at that point. He's just a passenger. And poor Drew Lidke probably thought he was in the clear and probably just saw a sideways McLaren coming right at him in his rearview mirror. Collects all three of them, all three with huge damage. And Jason Lundy says, you know what, guys? Thanks very much. I'm going to power on through this.
Yes, indeed. Now, Lidke's gone into the pits. He's probably taken a tow at this point, and that was very unfortunate. I was about to call the fifth place to Tim Collier about half a lap ago. Tim Collier now in 8th place, and then I was going to call the good battle between Bailey, Smith, and Lidke, and you put the curse on them, Kevin, and now we've got one of those in the pits. So well, we better go back to the front and have a look and see what Victor Tanaka and Umberto Roca are doing. And it looks like the gap has increased a little bit. Victor Tanaka on a mission here today.
Yeah, indeed. That gap almost up to 4 seconds. Just a moment ago, it's sitting at about 3 3/4 right now. But, the other thing I was thinking about that I totally spaced on is I wonder if these guys are swapping around on their fuel maps. The roof and the McLaren and the BMW all have alternate fuel maps. The McLaren and the roof have two, the normal full power and a fuel-saving one. The BMW has 5 and a full-course yellow one, so plenty to confuse you. The Ford GT does not. It's just got the normal full power. Anyhow, the point is that the McLaren and the roof swap off to fuel map 2 to save a little bit of fuel. And with this possibly being a fuel conservation race where they have to worry about picking up a couple of laps. It may be that these roofs are doing that as Roca, gets loose on the entry into Parabolica. So I wonder if Roca is currently on that conservation strategy right now, and Tanaka isn't. That would explain the speed differential to them to me right now. But it could also be that Tanaka's just got a better race setup than Humberto Roca, and Roca struggling with this hot track.
Yeah, that is quite possible. We don't, of course, know what the strategies of the various drivers are. But here's an interesting point, a little bit of a statistic for you, Kevin. There is not a single Ford GT in this race today.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. We haven't seen many Ford GTs in this series lately, have we? And they're definitely not.
No, there are plenty.
I can't recall anybody running.
Dujon Baldwin, Dougie Beard, they all have Ford GTs.
That's right, the whole 880 team. So I don't know what happened to them. I guess we'll have to try and figure it out. But yeah, so the roofs up front dealing well with clean track and not a whole lot going on.
Let's go and have a look at Peter Hebron. There's a battle going on here in the Parabolica between Peter Hebron and who is that he's battling with? Is that Lundy?
Yeah,
that's Carl Heron. Yep.
So Peter Hebron in the lead car, the white, blue, and orange roofed car, and Kyle Heron in the blue with orange stripe car, the more classic Gulf Oils color scheme is what it resembles. So that's how you tell those two guys apart.
And this is a battle here for the 14th and 15th position. And we see Kyle Heron now just coming up behind him. They head down towards the second chicane. On the braking, he's nice and early on the brakes there. This is not a place where you want to get loose and possibly take out your opponent. Kyle Heron doing that very nicely. Peter Hebron also very nicely. Now they go through the two, what is it, the Lesmos they call them. So these guys just keeping their distance at this point in time. We'll see what happens when they get towards the Parabolica, because that is where the previous attempt was made for a pass.
And they are indeed the Lesmos with an M as in Mike. So
do not mention the other word, the Lesbos.
And looks like James Hume starting to close in a little bit on Anthony James. These guys have been fairly close most of the day, but it kind of the gap opened up a little bit, and Anthony James deep into turn one gets on the curves on the inside, slow to power. Tim Collier James Hume not really sure if he should get on the power or come to a break and come to a stop, and kind of does both, and really kind of screws himself up a little bit.
Yeah, I've just been going through the field, having a look around and seeing what is in fact happening, trying to figure out the strategies that the drivers might have. And as I look around there, Victor Tanaka, he is definitely charging. He's over 4 seconds ahead now of Humberto Roca. Humberto is either slowed it down deliberately or he just can't match Victor Tanaka at this point. But it's a long race to go, bearing in mind, folks, we are only just over 30 minutes into the race. That is not even the 40-minute section finish of this 1 hour and 40-minute race. So pit stops will come in for, standard pit stops will come in at around the 40-minute mark is what Kevin worked out. So these guys are still about 10 minutes off from a regular pit stop. Then you've got Miguel Alcrudo in third place. He's just quietly going about his business as well. And Tom Rathie. Tom Rathie in the BMW, the first of the BMWs there, he's doing a great job just keeping his car clean, keeping it on the road, and making sure that he gets to his first pit stop in a very, very good shape, Kevin.
And we have seen the pit window officially open. Paul Darling has stopped, serviced his car, and is back out on track with a fresh car. He got that reset taken care of. So he is taking a slightly different strategy as well. We've seen that from a couple of people. I'm also seeing Darian Bailey has stopped. Oh yeah, he was in that big wreck. Of course he had to stop.
Yeah, that is correct. Now, the closest thing to a battle we have right at this moment is James Hume on Anthony James. So this is McLaren versus BMW. They are. Go ahead.
Sorry, we have a 3-car battle right now between McGarry, Hebron, and Heron. It looks like Hebron was aiming up for a pass attempt, but not doing it. He got off the throttle, and that allowed Kyle Heron to catch right up under braking, and actually Hebron goes defensive to try and avoid getting hit there under braking for turn 1. Not how you usually see things shake out in turn 1.
Yeah, well, Kyle Heron had a lot of trouble pulling that BMW up for the first chicane there. Nearly made contact with the car in front of him, and of course having to pull up that hard, he has now lost quite a little bit of ground to the other two. So in front of him now in the second chicane, Peter Hebron, and in front of Peter, Warren McGarry, who we haven't called in this race yet. He's in a McLaren as well. Warren McGarry sitting in 12th position, Peter Hebron in 13th position, and Kyle Heron in the 14th position. So these guys are a little way down, and I want to go back to that battle between Hume and James. That has kind of petered out in the interim, so nothing happening right there at the moment, Kevin.
And, this is a great run from Anthony James that he's having so far. I was just looking. I wish we had career statistics for Champion Motorsports. We don't. I do have season statistics. I have this season statistics, and I can say that Anthony James has not finished in the top 10 this season. So running 5th, he's got that class win right now. Well, I should say class lead. I'm jumping all over timing and scoring. James Hume, the car that is chasing Anthony James so closely, is also in the Pro-Am class. So these guys are fighting for the class position lead. But Anthony James, I wonder if he's ever had a Pro-Am podium. I don't think he has. He's up there at the front of the Pro-Am class, Richard.
Yeah, look, that's a great run from him, certainly here today, and leading the Pro-Am class at this point. Tom Collier, who is actually the leader in the Pro-Am class, he's behind them, so he's about 10 seconds behind James Hume, a fair way off. So if things stay the way they are, that will be very interesting for the championship. But you said it, Kevin, great drive from Anthony James. He has shown to me, he's shown potential of having speed, but his car control has not been the greatest, and that he's been involved in a lot of incidents. But today, this track must be to his liking, or maybe the weather's to his liking, but he's doing a great job out there today.
Yeah, and if I can, I'd like to see him use a little bit more of the track. He's been really keeping the car away from the track edges as he approaches the turn-in point and of pretty much every corner, and that will really make it easier for him. It'll allow him to not have to turn in as sharply. He'll be able to carry more speed in. That'll open things up for him a little bit. But yeah, Anthony having a good run, and it looks like Tom Ratchey into pit lane. So Ratchey out of that 4th place. He's into pit lane right now, so it's opened up for this the BMWs as well, Richard.
Yeah, correct. And we will probably see a lot of the guys in the next 5 minutes or so go into pit lane and get fresh rubber and top up with fuel as well. Driving along here with Jason Lundy at the moment in 8th position. He's looking at the guys in front of him there, Tim Collier, and of course Drew Litke, who had that unfortunate contact which put him in pit lane early. And at the moment, Jason Lundy trying to get to grips with these guys. And, Kevin, the McLaren just run away the moment they see a little bit of straightaway.
Yeah, they sure do. It makes it pretty nice. Although that BMW can hang in the draft. If they get up nice and close within a second, they can hang behind the McLaren no problem. And the BMWs love it, really it tows them along, carry an extra couple thousand RPM, it seems like, just about blowing that huge engine. But the BMW, this is not their best track. This is a track where they really struggle and suffer. And not easy for Jason Lundy right now, running solo all by himself. He's got to be a little bored, to say the least. But we should point out Peter Hebron passed Warren McGarry off camera, and as soon as I come to that battle, Kyle Herron, who was the third car, goes deep into De La Rogia, has to run the cutoff and may get a slowdown penalty. Not really sure as he approaches the Lesmos slowly. So Kyle Herron once again kind of drops off this battle.
Yeah, and this battle is still continuing. The Warren McGarry hasn't given up. He has certainly been passed by Peter Hebron in the BMW, but he hasn't given up. He should close up pretty well as they head down towards the third chicane now, the Ascari chicane, which he does. And again, as they go through this section and head towards the Parabolica, he should close up even further. So let's keep an eye on this. Meanwhile, I want to have a quick look at Tanaka versus Roca. At the moment, there is close to 5 seconds, Kevin, gap between these two. So they should be coming to the first pit stop for both these cars right now. So let's see what happens there. But certainly Tanaka having the better of today over Umberto Roca.
And speaking of pit stops, Tim Collier, Anthony James both in to serve their stops as well. But yeah, the leader's going to have to come in soon. I kind of wonder if Tanaka's going to come in now or not. I don't think they can go much longer than 20 laps.
Well, keeping an eye on Tanaka, he's just past the entry to pit lane, and he's going to at least do another lap.
Roca in.
Roca has come in, we're hearing, so that's great to see. Now, this will be interesting. What will the gap be? It's 4.77 seconds by the line. Probably a little bit more because Tanaka was traveling at speed while Roca had to slow down for the pit entry. So let's see what happens when Roca comes out where Tanaka is. He should be well and truly ahead, but then we'll be able to keep an eye on what happens when Tanaka pits, because he has to pit very soon.
Yeah, for sure. I got to think Tanaka's coming in this lap. Like I said, I don't think you can go past 20 laps. If he can, I'll be impressed, to say the least.
Well, that's right. I mean, he's been leading a large part of the race. He was only in the draft of Roca for 4 or 5 laps, the first 4 or 5, maybe a bit more. But then, since then, he's been leading. So he's had no draft. He's had to do all the work himself with his car. So, yeah, 20 laps, he should be coming in. They are on the 40-minute mark as well, Kevin. Both of us would probably be surprised if he doesn't come in right now.
Right, so I'm just going to watch. Actually, I switched to Kyle Herron and Tom Ratchie. Ratchie all over the back of Herron as they approach Parabolica, and Ratchie in on the inside, going to take it easily away from Herron. I think Herron helped him around as Herron gets loose after turn-in. Could have spun that around pretty easily. Saw a lot of that this past weekend.
Okay, now still driving for me with Victor Tanaka. Victor Tanaka is just coming out of the Parabolica. Does he turn in? No, sir. He bypasses the pit entry once again. So, what does he know that we don't, Kev?
Well, he knows the fuel mileage of a roof better than I do, but I'd be willing to bet that I know the fuel mileage of a McLaren at Monza better than he does. So I still got one up at least, I guess.
Yeah, well, look, he's going into lap 21 right now. He's got a car in front of him, which is Anthony James, which is well down. Victor Tanaka leading this race, of course. Umberto Roca, by the way, is out already, so we didn't get to see a gap. We'll have to wait until Victor Tanaka goes into pits to make the determination on what the gap will be between these two. Currently, it's showing as being 11 seconds. That can't be right.
And I have a big stack up here. Ratchie, McGarren, and Hebron. Hebron went deep into Lesmos 1, caught out McGarry and Ratchie, who are now all over each other down the run to Ascari. Ratchie on fresher tires than everybody else, looking to the inside of McGarry. Should be able to make this happen very, very, very far to driver's left as McGarry comes across, says, nope, that's my position, thank you very much. And through Ascari they go. Hopefully Ratchie gets a good exit here. He should be able to do it on the inside of the Parabolica if he wants. Also easily done is set up the exit of Parabolica. Should be able to outrun McGarry, no problem. I'm pretty confident that Ratchie is better on brakes as McGarry goes very defensive, and that is Paul Darling, who completely forgets his braking point.
and gets away with it. Like he passed Ratchy as if Ratchy was standing still, but then he realized, hang on, I got to stop this car, and then got on the brakes and got away with it. He managed to keep the car on the track. He's now behind. Paul Darling is behind Tom Ratchy. Tom Ratchy, by the way, was very, very cautious there around Peter Hedron and did not try anything. The strategy probably was that the driver in front had to go into the pits soon. So Tom Ratchy, Paul Darling just behind him. This is for position 10 and 11 they are. So at this point, they're coming up to the slower car. They go to the outside, past the slower car. Darling looking very, very much in a hurry there, Kevin.
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts. That's Peter Hebron, Tom Ratchy's teammate that they passed. But I got to think that Tom Ratchy, going back to the parabolic, I think Tom Ratchy saw Paul Darling coming up in his mirror and saw him coming in hot and realized, uh-oh, that something bad's going to happen here, because Ratchy looks like he aborted his entry into Parabolica, it looked like. But I still can't believe that Paul Darling saved that. He didn't run wide. He kept it on the black stuff and got it sorted out and didn't really lose any time, Richard. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was. That was really cool, cool thinking, cool head there on Paul Darling. Meanwhile, Kevin, Tanaka has gone into the pits. He's just come out now, heading down towards the first chicane. So now we get to see the interesting situation. Umberto Roca, where is he?
Right behind Tanaka.
Right behind. Yeah, now we've got ourselves a little battle. So he's closed up during the pit stop there, Kevin. And let's see, this is the second stint now. There's still a whole 40-minute stint to go and another pit stop at least. So at this stage, let's see if Umberto is in a hurry. And it looks to me like, whilst Tanaka is still settling in after the pit stop, tires are still cold as his outlap. Maybe this is the opportunity. They go, Umberto definitely tried there. They almost made contact, did not though, as they go through those Lesmos 2. And it looks to me as if Umberto Roca is serious about getting this first position right now.
Yeah, for sure. Gained 4 seconds on the pit stop. And look at Tanaka all over the back of Roca, moving to driver's right. Looks like he's going for it on the run to Scari. Easily done under braking Tanaka through.
No, Roca through.
Excuse me, Roca through. Yes, correct. Sorry, Richard.
But Tanaka fought back. And there was again a very, very close just in the braking zone there. Now he's in the draft. He catches up. They go towards the Parabolica. We have ourselves a race here. Very, very fast through the Parabolica is Umberto Roca. We will get the timing and scoring will be updated. Tanaka right on the rear end of him. Umberto now heading down towards the first chicane. Tanaka is right on his bumper, all over him, goes out of the way. They've got a slower car there in front of them. They head down towards the braking zone. Tanaka pulls it up and backs out a little bit. That is so risky what they were doing right there.
Well, they got away with it, so give them that.
Yeah, but he was very close coming towards the braking zone. You have to know your car extremely well, Kevin, to know how much distance it takes to pull it up. Again, now he's got a little bit further back this time. Maybe he felt that he was too close into the braking zone previously. Now they go into the two right-handers, Lesmos 1 and 2. Tanaka has certainly got the same pace as Umberto Roca at this point in time. This is the race, folks, for first position. Umberto Roca now sees Tanaka coming. He's decided that he wants to race. No more playing around or trying to conserve fuel or anything like that. They know they will definitely have to stop again. Of course, the question is how much fuel do they put in the next time around? But they've got to put on tires anyway with this heat, I would think, Kevin. So it's really a moot point. They're going to have to all stop again and take tires.
Yeah, I think they're probably taking tires. It'll be nice to know after the race when we get confirmation one way or another, but just with the length of these stops, they're going to have, I think they just have to take tires. And as you said, the heat, just using it so much. There's a car off in the grass, or in the outside of Parabolic.
Jay
Dargett.
Yeah, Jay Dargett, BMW, got stuck out there in the middle of nowhere and managed to get his car going again. I'll have a look at the front of his car. Looks like he's got no damage that I can see anyway. So he just got loose, got out there, maybe spun and got back on track again. So all good at this stage as we see a car flying past him, and that's Kyle Herron as well. So he's just got to settle back in now. The race is still a long way to go, Kyle Herron, but he is already a lap down, and of course he is in 17th position. So not a lot to fight for him right now.
Now we need to go up front because Tanaka and Roca are about to catch the lap car of Warren McGarry into the Lesmos. This is where the fast cars are much, much faster than the slower cars, so something crazy could happen, some sort of shenanigans. But no, everybody's through Lesmo 1 just fine, and I think Roca and Tanaka aren't going to be able to catch them approaching Lesmo 2. But Tanaka, a good run up in and through Lesmo 2. This is Tanaka's, if he wants it, I think. But they're just not able to get the power down as aggressively as I thought. Just so slick out there. But Tanaka's going to get a nice draft from that McLaren. Is he going to be able to use it to slingshot around both cars? No, he's not. Gets on the brakes nice and early through Ascari, but Roca has to take that defensive line, and Tanaka may have been too aggressive to the middle. Should have been able to set up and get a great exit out. Not going to happen here.
Not at the moment. So they head down towards the Parabolica now. Look at the draft pull him into the bumper of Umberto Roca. Now they brake for the Parabolica. I must say, Roca very, very good through the Parabolica. Much better this time around than Tanaka. Nobody as good as Paul Darling through here, though, mind you.
Well, if they're doing some drifto style, that's for sure. Darling, I think, has it settled. But, a little bit of blinking from Roca. This is not going to make Tanaka happy because you don't really know where the other guy is when he's blinking in and out like that, when his internet connections go a little wonky. And Roca goes defensive. Tanaka takes a normal line, gets on the power nice and early, but Roca is there checking up, can't get to the power as well. And Tanaka, again, just not able to capitalize on a small mistake from Roca.
Yeah, that was a little bit of nasty blinking there. You're quite right. You don't want to see that from a drive in front of you. Now, it looks as if Roca is definitely defensive. He's driving down the middle of the track here, so he knows Tanaka is there, and Tanaka is fast. That was a really nice exit from Tanaka. Once again, you see Roca going defensive. They're going to Lesmos 1 now. Roca has to back it. Tanaka has to back it out, but Tanaka is all over the back of Umberto Roca. Nobody has been this close to Umberto Roca and battled with Umberto Roca this fiercely as Tanaka is right now. Now they head down towards Ascari. You see that Roca is still defensive, Kevin. He is definitely worried, and now they're side by side.
I was just waiting for them to make contact in Ascari, but no, they managed to run side by side in Ascari, keep it clean, and now back into Parabolica. Now, Victor, back off a little bit on the run to Parabolica. Let yourself get a good exit out of Parabolica, and you should be able to make this happen. But no, Tanaka going deep into Parabolica. Roca was doing a little defensive move, is slow at apex. Now Tanaka moves to the outside of Parabolica. Neither one gets a good run through, but Tanaka will have the benefit of a draft, not much of a draft, as he's already on the rear bumper of Roca and has to immediately pull to the outside. Roca's on the defensive line. They're side by side, wheel to wheel, approaching the braking zone. Tanaka about half a car length ahead, but no, Roca's going to go deep under brakes. Tanaka backing it up a little bit, and Roca went too deep and spins it, nearly collects Tanaka. Nice little 360 though by Roca. He's back on power and going again.
Well, you know, it was a little too fierce on the brakes there, and coming out, Tanaka had it, overtook him. Perhaps are we getting a replay of that? Let's see. Yes, we are. And you can see them going side by side there, and you can see Roca very late on the brakes there, and actually does lose it there. Tanaka did well to not collect him there, Kevin, and Tanaka now has the first position once again.
So our spotter, while we were watching this fantastic action up front, our spotter has alerted us to the battle for 11th and 12th. Rick Smith and Troy Fagan separated by about half a second. Rick Smith in that blue and red McLaren, remember, was running fifth. Or no, excuse me, was not running fifth. His teammate was running fifth. And just to check in on that, Anthony James is in sixth right now and is still leading the Pro-Am class. But Rick Smith here in 11th with Troy Fagan hot on his heels.
Well, I want to make mention here of Paul Darling. Now, Paul Darling was well down before the pit stops, Kevin. He had a bit of damage on his car at one stage, but there he is currently running in fourth position. And very quietly, Miguel El Crudo has done nothing spectacular today, but he has maintained that third place throughout the race so far. So great driving from Miguel El Crudo, a quiet drive, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly the way he wants it.
Yeah, I think so. Probably a little boring. I think he's been by himself for most of this race and not really what you want to see. And meanwhile, Rick Smith goes deep into De La Roggia, probably got a cut penalty. And, Troy Fagan around easily. I think Rick Smith just handed the position over, although Rick Smith doesn't lose too much because he's still only about a third of a second behind Troy Fagan through Lesmos 2.
Yep, and we've got that on the replay there to see what has occurred. And you can see now Rick Smith heading into the chicane. Goes across the sleeping policeman there. That may not have, probably was a cut course penalty. But in any case, it slowed him down and he lost ground. And you've got the car of Troy Fagan well past.
Now we've also got this battle for 7th and 8th. James Hume and Tim Collier going. Tim Collier trailing in the draft to James Hume. That McLaren able to use that huge top-end advantage, but Collier very early on the brakes, especially compared to James Hume into turn 1. So not really sure what the thought process there was, other than he didn't really want the position, I guess.
Well, you know, when you're leading the championship, it does have an effect on you. You do not want to, well, some drivers drive overly conservatively knowing they're leading the championship. They don't want to lose points or get involved in an accident which might lose them championship points. So that might be in Tim Collier's mind. Whether that's the case, I don't know. The other situation, of course, is that the drive in front is just faster.
Well, very possible, Richard. I can't argue that. Hard to pass a faster car, that's for sure.
Okay, now just having a look at this championship, the Pro-Am championship. Tom Collier is leading. Troy Fagan and Peter Hebron are second and third. But Anthony James is in fourth place. And having a look for James Hume, he is well down. So that's another reason there. You don't want to do battle with a driver who's not even in the top 10 of the championship, Kevin.
I can't disagree with anything you're saying here, Richard. You're spot on. Although I'm just kind of an aggressive guy. If there's a pass attempt that I can make, I'm going to make it.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I think I only raced you once ever in a race that I can recall. And of course, we've done a bit of fun stuff together. But yeah, you are aggressive. Make no mistake.
All right, so back to Hume and Collier and this action on track. Once again, Collier very fast on the pit straight. Once again, early on the brake. So you're probably right, Richard. Just not interested in really fighting for that position and maybe losing the Pro-Am Championship lead.
Yeah. However, he's against the BMW there now. We've spoken about the different...
Tanaka, very slow. Something happened with Victor Tanaka. He hit the wall. In Ascari, he went very, very deep in the first left, and Ascari got loose on the gravel, came back and hit the wall, Richard. Big shake-up. He's got damage. I don't know if he's able to continue with that damage on his car as he's through Parabolica right now. He looks slow to me. I'm not sure if that's my eyes deceiving me or not, but no, he's going to stay out. So obviously he doesn't think the damage is bad enough.
Yep, we got that on the replay. You can see it was a glancing blow, though. On the replay anyway, so he'll have some damage, but certainly he's decided to stay out. but that's going to lose him time. As you can see, the gap has visibly decreased between himself and Umberto Roca. So Victor Tanaka, if he hasn't used his free repair or fast repair yet, he wants to save that, I guess, for when he goes into the pits again.
Yeah, I think so. Well, probably even more. Going off cycle now will completely ruin his race and hand over the lead to Umberto Roca for sure. So probably thinking about that more than the damage is my guess.
Well, let's see if in fact it has slowed him down a heck of a lot. It looks to be like Umberto Roca will have to get the times by the line here. So currently the gap from the last time by was 2.2 seconds. So we'll be able to see when they cross the line this time whether it is in fact a lot less now. We will most certainly find that I think that Roca is catching, because just visually it does seem as if he is.
Yeah, he's already picked up a couple of tenths just through Ascari. So I think Tanaka may have escaped a certain doom, but I don't think it's looking great for him.
All right, let's go back to Kyle Heron and Paul Darling. Well, that's not really a battle. That's Paul Darling passing a car which is a lap down there. So for a moment I thought we had a battle there, but that was not the case. Kyle Heron down in 16th position, one lap down. Tom Rathie coming up towards him. Tom Rathie is another driver that we should tip our hats to.
We've got contact between Troy Fagan and Rick Smith. I was watching this, keeping an eye out into Della Rosia. Rick Smith was later on the brakes than Troy Fagan and couldn't slow it down. Made contact, but they both got away with it. That could have been disastrous.
We'll get a replay of that. Rick Smith coming down. They're heading down towards the second chicane here. Under the bridge they go. Braking zone, and you can see he's way too late on the brakes. Does make a glancing contact and managed to pull it up enough by the looks of it, Kevin, so that there was no major damage done to either car.
Where we do need to go, though, is the front of the field, where Humberto Roca, he had dropped that gap down to under a second and a half from Victor Tanaka, but Tanaka has pulled a little bit back. Richard?
Yeah, we've been watching that while we were talking about, as we see Umberto going wide there. That's the weather catching him out. A bit of late braking also. He's definitely trying to catch Tanaka, but he got caught out a little bit there through Ascari, and he's actually lost time now, so that'll go above 2 seconds again now. So Umberto Roca in this race not having things is all his own way. In fact, dare I say, in this particular series, the endurance series, Kevin, Umberto Roca has not had it all his own way. The first race he finished well down in 23rd position, and of course he's not leading this championship as he is in the sprint series.
Well, let's go back to Fagan and Smith in 11th and 12th. They're very close to each other, once again approaching Della Rosia. And again, Smith much harder on the brakes than Troy Fagan. Again, Smith kind of running out of room, but this time they don't hit each other. So much improved over the last lap.
Yeah, and this is McLaren versus McLaren, and Smith versus Fagan. This is for position as they go through the Lesmos turns. And you'll see there that it looks like Troy Fagan gets a nice run away from Rick Smith, going through any turn, really. And then coming to the turn, maybe with the help of draft, you'll see Smith catching up again as they go into Ascari now. Smith nicely through there, as is Fagan. Now they'll take the long run down towards the Parabolica. Can Smith make up that ground? He'll be in the draft, of course, and by the time he gets to the rear bumper, though, of Fagan, it's time for brakes again, so he's not really making a good impression at this stage on Fagan.
Yeah, just having difficulty being consistent. which is easy to do here at Monza, regardless in the best of conditions. Just, such a fast track. The margins are so razor thin, the line is so narrow, and you have to carry so much speed at entry, and it's just so difficult to do. And then you add in this blistering hot weather that we've got today, and it becomes even more difficult. Now you tack on that these guys have been racing already for an hour, so they're probably starting to get a little tired, getting a little fatigued, and just becomes even more difficult as we see Troy Fagan kind of going deep. Well, I should say kind of, definitely going deep into Rettifilia.
Yeah, and we make a little point about that. This is a simulated racing, so you don't have the real life feel of the heat, the temperature of the car getting
and
to
there
you.
it is. Yep, Fagan just completely screws up the braking for De La Rogia and hands the position over to Rick Smith. Sorry, Richard, please continue.
That's all right. That's all right. I was just going to make a comment on the difference between real life racing, where the heat can affect you, but even Kevin, even in sim racing, in a long race like this, you do get fatigued, and you're sitting in the same position in your seat all the time. And although you don't have that real life stresses that, of course, you have to feel with your body, you certainly do get tired. And just like real life racing, over a long period of time, you will get slower, or you will lose concentration and make mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. That physical exhaustion isn't necessarily there, but the mental exhaustion can be there as well. It's very tiring to run racing in any format, real life or virtual, and you can actually kind of overheat as well. That's a problem I actually kind of struggle with personally. Wearing headphones, and I wear motocross gloves because I get sweaty hands. But you can get hot as well. It's almost as hot as the inside of a front-engine car sometimes in my racing room, at least. But let's go back up front. Victor Tanaka still leads. Humberto Roca has closed that gap up to a 1.5 seconds. So Roca is definitely quicker out there right now than Tanaka. But hey, we said that about this point in the last stint, and then Tanaka said, "Nope, see, I'm going to gap you by a couple more seconds." So not sure if that's going to stay like this, but Tanaka does have the lap car of Drew Lidke in front of him. Humberto Roca right now is hoping that they go side by side into the chicane coming up, but we'll see if that's what actually happens.
Yeah, and it looks as if they've settled down now. At the beginning of the stint, when they were both just, when Roca had just come out of the pits, you could see he was anxious to get by and establish his superiority, having come out on the fresh tires. But now that they're sort of in the middle of their stint, bear in mind they've got 40 minutes roughly per stint. They've gone an hour now, so they're halfway through their stint here already. It's settled down a bit now, I think, Kevin, to the point where Roca's just following again now.
And since it's settled down and we're getting close to the final pit window opening, we're going to take a break. Don't stay away and watch what the upcoming races on your screen.
Welcome back to Monza, folks, where during the break, the action has certainly hotted up. We are driving along with Umberto Roca and Victor Tanaka at the moment. You can see that the gap has been reduced to 0, and Umberto Roca now challenging strongly on Victor Tanaka for the P1 position. Victor Tanaka responding. They come out of the Parabolica. Victor Tanaka very good out of there, and they head down towards turn 1. There's a slower car up there in front of them as well. They're a little way off that car. Here comes Roca. Roca backs off just a little bit, probably seeing that that slower car up ahead as well. Doesn't want to jump in and try and make a false move there, but I have to say he is once again looking anxious to try and get past Victor Tanaka right now. Now we'll find out whether Kevin has returned. Kevin, are you with us?
Yes, Richard, I have been since we came back to air. Now, if I'm Umberto Roca, I'm going to stay behind Victor Tanaka at this point. Just conserve my tires a little bit and conserve my fuel a little bit more so that I can take a little less fuel in that final stop and maybe leapfrog Victor in pit lane. That's the easiest way to do it. But we've seen all bets are off in this racing series as Tanaka getting checked up by Troy Fagan there as they come out of Lesmo 2. Always something going on in this racing, and Humberto Roca was a little confused there about what he wanted to do. Very deep in the draft, 2 breaks early, and then pokes his nose on the inside, but no, he's not going to pass into his car. That would have been a late aggressive maneuver for sure.
All right, guys, now that battle is on. Definitely, we want to keep an eye on that. There is another battle which is kind of faded a little bit now between Collier and Hume.
Richard, it is on. Tanaka Roca goes to the inside out of his car and outbreaks Tanaka into that Parabolica. Tanaka setting up well, gets a good launch out of Parabolica, runs deep on the outside. Don't get the cut course penalty that's way out there. He might have done that. He might have escaped. He comes back over to driver's right, gets in the draft of Umberto Roca. He, I think, got on the power a little too aggressive, too early, and I don't know that he's going to be able to do it, but no, he's still in the draft, gets off the power early, and Roca is going to lead them into the first chicane.
And remember that we kind of suspected he might have some damage because of that touch with the wall, but that didn't seem to be the case, and now he's got the draft. He goes to the outside. He's just probably doing that so he can see where the corner braking point is. And now he's right on the rear end. He goes to the inside for the second chicane. They go side by side in the braking zone. What brave move there from Roca. He doesn't get away with it though. He has to concede that position because he braked way too late into that corner.
Let me tell you, Humberto Roca is lucky that he didn't go sideways over one of the sleeping policemen and launch the car into the air and possibly come down into the wall. Roca, in my opinion, is very lucky to still be racing.
Well, correct. He got away with that. Tanaka could see what was going on in front of him. Tanaka obviously thought, whoa, maybe I'm going to get caught up in this as well. But right now, forget about that. Umberto Roca is back in business. He is still fast. He's still got an opportunity to catch Tanaka. Bear in mind, Kevin, they're about 10 minutes or so away from their second stop, and that is going to be crucial for both of them to take the right amount of fuel and to make a decision on tires. Are they going to take 2? Are they going to take 4? We don't know at this stage, but with them being this close, every half a second, every 10th of a second counts.
Yeah, you said it. Absolutely. A 10th of a second can be the difference between being in the draft of the car in front of you and being stuck out like an anchor and not being able to catch up. So definitely, it all makes a difference. And Roca, after that mistake, he's now a second behind. But look how much he closes up under braking, gathers a couple of tenths, but slow to get back to power. Roca very good under brakes, but Tanaka much better on the power, getting onto the power, I should say, than Humberto Roca. That's been the story of this race so far.
Yeah, I have noticed that the exit speed from Victor Tanaka is much better, certainly at this point. Look at the entry speed. You can see Roca catching up there, but he's got to slow the car down. and he's got to use a lot more brakes than Tanaka has, because he's got to slow the car down more. Now they go through the Lesmos there. This is where you can see whether, in fact, he is faster, Roca, than Tanaka. It looks like he is slightly faster. Of course, he's got the draft as well, Kevin. But this next lap going into the Parabolica, this is where we'll see it.
And some quick pit updates. Paul Darling, Tim Collier, and Miguel El Crudo have all come in for their final stops. They should be good to go. If they're not, then that's a horrible miscalculation on their pit strategy. But right now, it's on Roca is close enough. As long as he gets a good setup in Parabolica, he can make this position change happen.
Yes, he's got to. If he goes in too deep, as he's been doing, look at that. That's way too deep. He manages to get past. How is he going to slow that car down? Tanaka, on the other hand, gets a nice exit, and see, he's got the opportunity to fight back there, Kevin, because he actually did a much better job of braking there.
Yeah, he did the classic over-under, just did it in Parabolica. Tanaka, though, his front wheels are even with Roca's rear wheels. He's got some ground to make up under braking, but should be able to do it if he chooses to, and they are side by side. As they approach the turn-in, somebody has to give way. They don't really either give way, and Tanaka comes out in front.
Yeah, and you can't go too wide through there, and Umberto Roca, I fear for him if he continues with this strategy of his of going very, very deep under brakes. Now he's on the inside. They come down to, now he should have this. But again, he's got to slow the car down. You can see Tanaka getting on the brakes much earlier, and then he gets a good exit. But this time, Kevin, Roca has got a very, very good exit from the second chicane there, and now he is able to use or get the advantage, I should say, because he was better through this section of the course than was Tanaka. The other point I want to make quickly, Kevin, is the fact that last pit stop, Tanaka went 2 more laps than Roca did before he pitted. So that's another thing that we need to take into account.
Yeah, and the answer is this: we just don't really know, without being able to talk to the driver, just exactly what their pit strategy is. This track is so dependent on whether or not you're in the draft or what map you're on to determine really when you're going to pit. And when you add into the fact that it's kind of a strange pit cycle anyways, where they can go 40 minutes in an hour and 40-minute race, there's so many options for their pit strategy here. So Roca may have intentionally come in early for some particular reason, don't know, but looks like Tanaka right now all over the rear bumper of Roca. Some great race going on here on lap 39, Richard, as they come up to a slower car. That BMW very barely gives them room to race.
And Roca not giving up. Roca prepared to go too wide into these very, very tight chicanes. Kevin, that takes intestinal fortitude, may I say. And I have to say, this is some of the best GT3 racing that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, these two guys are putting on a great show, which is great for us because there's not a whole lot going on in the rest of the field, as Tanaka shows his nose under braking for De La Rogia, but doesn't make anything happen there. Boy, these guys are going at it hammer and tongs.
Yeah, you must. I had my heart in my mouth when they came up on that BMW just coming out of the pits, and that was scary stuff. But now we see getting loose. This is an opportunity here for Victor Tanaka to get before Ascari to take P1 back again. We saw Umberto Roca uncharacteristic getting loose there. Now Tanaka takes away his position and also gets right in front of him, goes to the outside, right in front of Roca. So now they'll head down once again towards the Parabolica. They've got a slower car in front of them as well. That is the car of Rick Smith, though he's not that slow, but he's braking now. Here comes Roca once again, very, very late on the brakes, but Tanaka this time aware of the situation, got him covered there that time, Kevin, and stays in P1, bearing in mind, of course, the pit stop window can't be more than a lap or two away.
Well, Yeah, easy for me to say. Exactly. The stop should be happening anytime now. We don't know who's going to blink first as they come up to the slower car of Rick Smith in Rentifilio right now. And they've got Tom Ratchey behind him, who they hope won't run into the back of them. But Tanaka and Roca looking clean. Are they going to be able to make something happen before De La Roggia? Tanaka wants to make it happen and have Humberto Roca stay behind him. I expect a late maneuver from Tanaka here, but no, Tanaka is just too far away to make something happen. Will he try and force the issue going into one of the Lesmos?
Well, you know, I've just had a look at the championship points here. This is all about pride. This is all about I am better than you. And I will have that position, because in reality, Humberto Roca is in 4th position if I'm looking at the correct list here. And I am looking for Victor Tanaka. I'm not even seeing his name there in that list. So I'm not quite sure why the battle is so fierce. As we see them going side by side again, coming down towards Ascari. Much better on the brakes is Tanaka, but not that time. Humberto Roca goes into P1 once again, and we'll see what Victor Tanaka will have to say about that. But this, folks, this has been absolutely on the limit racing.
Yeah, these guys are not leaving much out there. They are just giving it all on the track. As once again, Roca very deep into Parabolica. This time, though, he just can't get to Apex. But Roca looks like he might be heading towards pit lane. They both are coming in.
And this is very interesting. Both coming in at the same time. Victor Tanaka probably could have gone a lap or so more, we think. We don't know for sure. But who will get out of the pits first, Kevin? What will their strategy be with tires? That is the crucial thing, because they can take the same amount of fuel. Maybe Tanaka can take a little bit less fuel here. But tires, what are they going to do? Surely they'll take 4.
I don't know. I think they probably took tires last stop, and so you can go an hour with them. I think I might want to stay out. There's not huge tire wear at this track. You can use them up pretty heavily. Tanaka out early. Tanaka's got the lead. Roca
and
still
a good lead.
Roca going up in the air. Roca's taking tires. All right, so this is going to solve the question for us. Is it smarter to take tires or not?
Yeah, exactly. We will know whether, in fact, the Roca can catch Tanaka. But Tanaka's going to have something like a 15-second lead, or easily more, perhaps more than that, 20 seconds. By the time Humberto Roca gets going, we will be able to see the gap very soon. I don't know, Kevin. What do you think?
Well, by the calculations we've been running in our team for the McLaren, it takes about 16 seconds to get 4 tires. So that was about the difference. Tanaka may have taken a little bit extra fuel. Not really sure why he needed to take more, or excuse me, Roca may have taken some more fuel than Tanaka, but not sure why that had to happen since Tanaka had the longer first stint. Either way, let's go to 7th and 8th. Rick Smith and Tom Ratchey. This is a battle for position, though Tom Ratchey has been in for his final stop. Rick Smith has not. Ratchey on the inside of Parabolica, and as soon as we come to it, looks like no, Rick Smith's fighting back. Rick Smith's saying, hey, I may still have to stop. I may be in the Pro-Am class and not the Pro class like you, but I can fight too. And sure enough, he's doing it, and that McLaren is just scooting on down the front straight.
Yeah, yes, sir. Rick Smith showing that the McLaren does have it over the BMW in some cases at this track. Now, we've got to also take into account that this is Pro-Am versus Pro, and Tom Ratchey certainly doesn't want to tangle with one of the amateur drivers and possibly get damage, which will spoil his situation. Because bear in mind, it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3. He's in 4th position in class at the moment, if you like. And so he could spoil that. He's also in 3rd position in the championship, so he's got everything to fight for championship-wise and nothing to fight for on track right here, Kevin.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like timing and scoring has settled down between Tanaka and Roca, and that gap is 17.5 seconds on track, 17.75 seconds on track right now. So that is the difference between taking tires and not taking tires. So we're going to see how much faster is Humberto Roca than Victor Tanaka on those fresh tires.
Yep, Raji and Smith still are in this battle here. McLaren versus BMW. Raji looked as if he was all over it was all over. He had the position, but Smith has been fighting back. Now he goes to the inside, heading towards the braking zone for the Parabolica. This time a lot earlier on the brakes is Rick Smith, and I think he's given up the position now. There's no point in him battling further for that position at this stage. He still has to do a pit stop, I believe.
Never underestimate the power of a car with more top end. Look at Rick Smith just blowing past Tom Ratchey on the pit straight. Yeah, that's a car with greater top end going right there. But Tom Ratchey saying, nope, I fought hard for that position. I'm taking it back. Goes very deep under braking and just barely clears Rick Smith. Takes it back. But maybe Rick Smith wants to try it again.
And I tell you what, Kevin, you will know, as will any driver, will know how hard it is, particularly in these cars, to go too deep under brakes into that first chicane. It is a tough chicane.
Yeah, and you can see Tom Ratchey there covering Rick Smith under braking for De La Roja, saying, nope, do not fight me on this one. I am faster than you. You may have the top end on me on the pit straight, but I can scoot away from you. And look at Tom Ratchey just opening that gap up right now. It's already 1.2 seconds through Lesmo 1 and 1.5 through Lesmo 2. This fight is over. Rick Smith's no longer in the draft.
Okay, let's get back to the battle for P1, which is not really a battle that is visible or on the track right now. But, Kevin, there's been something like a second caught up by Umberto Roca. So, at the moment, there's only 17 minutes left. So, he's got to catch up a second a minute. Now, a lap, of course, is more than, nearly 2 minutes. So, I don't think he has it. I think all that Tanaka has to do at this stage, Victor Tanaka, is just be steady, not make any mistakes, and this race will be his. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Roca needs to run a second and a half to 2 seconds faster than Tanaka each lap, and I just don't think there's enough time to do it, or I should say, before the race ends, he's going to need to run that pace, and that's a pretty big gap to ask. So unless Tanaka makes some pretty significant mistakes, I think that's over. Now, the one we need to pay attention to right now is James Hume and Tim Collier. Hume just pitted. Remember, these two were nose to tail for much of the race, and Hume is out right now. Tim Collier has just passed him. So what was once a very, very close battle is over. Tim Collier has taken the position away from James Hume, finally. We kept wondering about that. When was Tim Collier going to pass Hume on track? He kept declining the option. Well, he made the pass in the pit lane cycle. Yeah,
and at this stage now, Tim Collier is well and truly past. Who was that? That was James Hume. Sorry, or was it Anthony James?
James Hume.
James Hume. Okay, so he's got that position now. Well, I'm having a look again, Kevin. It's now 15.5 seconds, so he's certainly fighting hard. Is Umberto Roca. I still don't think he has enough time to catch Victor Tanaka, but certainly he is faster, a lot faster than Tanaka is now, as you would expect with the fresh tires.
You know what I just remembered, Richard, is I think several times in Champion Motorsports, you and I have declared a race over because one guy was on old tires and another guy was on fresh tires, and we thought, no, there's no way they can close up the gap in the time remaining. And here we are, we're doing it again, and each time we've been wrong. So maybe I'm just going to take my words back. Umberto Roca has a chance to do this. Yeah, well, fair enough. Okay, well let's run down the standings for you, because we haven't done that in a while. We're on lap 43, 1 hour 26 minutes elapsed right now, so about 15 or so minutes left to go in the race. Victor Tanaka leads by 15.5 seconds at the last time by the line. Umberto Roca in second place. Miguel El Crudo, very quiet race, but a very consistent race for Miguel. Paul Darling moved up to 4th position after having early troubles. Tom Rathy in 5th
position. That's your top 5 for you right now. Umberto Roca has crossed. No, he's not crossed the line yet. I want to see what the gap will be when he goes across the line, as he will do in about a second or so's time. He goes down the straightaway now and crosses the... Well, where's the line? Does he cross the line? Yes, 14.4. So that's another 1.1 seconds, Kevin. Gosh, this is going to be close.
And got to throw in a couple updates on that top 5. Paul Darling is down to 4th. Not sure if he needs to make a final stop. Remember, he got off that pit cycle strategy by having to pit early. So Darling may need to come in. Jason Lundy started caboose on the field up to 6. So he's having a great run. And then that Pro-Am podium is currently Tim Collier, James Hume, and Anthony M. James. Remember, Anthony James was leading that as that class lead, but has surrendered that to Collier and Hume. So James, good luck today, has run out a little bit. But yeah, Humberto Roca, it's close. Is he doing enough? And he's caught behind Rick Smith right now. Loses some time through the Lesmos.
Yeah, I was getting ready to call a fight for position, but it is not a fight for position. He's trying to get by a lapped car, Humberto Roca. 14.4 seconds last time by. I guarantee that'll be something like 13.6 seconds. He lost a little bit of time behind the slower car there. Now he goes through Ascari. He's fighting hard. You can see that he is concentrating very hard, putting everything that he's got into it, trying to make up that position. He doesn't really have to. He's well ahead on points in the championship, but this is personal pride involved here. He has not been as good as we know he is in the sprint races, in these longer races, because they've got to make 2 pit stops, etc. But Kevin, he is certainly making a very, very good attempt to try and catch Tanaka. Whether he can do it or not, I don't know. Let's see what the gap is right now. 13.9. So not the same sort of catch up that he had previously.
No, indeed. So could be done. Might not be. We've seen stranger finishes to Champion Motorsports races. So again, I'm feeling hesitant to call it this early.
Yeah, we mentioned that of course Roca was held up by a lapped car. Now I want to go way down to the end of the list here. Jared Lawson has not moved from the pits from that very, very early. 36 lap down, so he left as we suspected. Ryan Bird is also gone. Jay Dargett gone. Go ahead.
Sorry, Richard, I'm going to jump in. Anthony James has spun out of the De La Roja chicane, surrendered the position to his teammate, that final podium spot. So the All Balls Racing team, it looks like one of them's going to get the first podium for the team in history, and it wasn't Anthony James, who was running in the class lead for so long. And James, for some reason, was in reverse there for a little while. Not sure why, but he has since gotten back up and running again.
Yeah, James and Smith are the teammates there, I believe, and they've done a great job today, as has a lot of the drivers. Tim Collier certainly, didn't have it all his own way, but now he looks like he's moved up into P1 in the Pro-Am class. He's coming up there behind. Is that Jason? Yes, it is Jason Lundy. So this will be a battle here for position as well. Collier just behind Lundy. So here's a battle for position, Kevin.
And Tim Collier was a second faster than Jason Lundy this last lap by. So I don't know if Lundy is maybe on some fuel-saving strategy right now, or what's going on. But Tim Collier is definitely the faster car on track at the moment.
Yeah, and Roca is struggling, just to update you on that. He's only gained a third of a second in that last lap, and he looked pretty loose coming out of the first chicane there. So I think now, well, dare I say it, I think that he can't catch Tanaka in the time that's left. I'm going to say it. I don't think he can catch Tanaka in the time that's left, Kevin.
Yeah, you might be right. They ran very similar laps last time by, only separated by about a third of a second. So that's just not going to do it for Humberto Roca. He's got to make up at this point, almost 13 and a half seconds in just under 12 minutes. So it's going to be tough to do.
All right, let's get back to this battle with Collier and Lundy. Now, this is a battle for position on track. They are in different classes as far as the championship goes, Pro-Am versus Pro. Lundy says, no, I'm not going to let you pass. Tim Collier says, well, I've got the faster car. I'm in a McLaren. You're in a slow BMW. I'm going to take this position. Lundy says, well, I am going to show you how fast this BMW is. But currently, it is Collier who is ahead of Lundy, and he's moved up one position. Now Lundy goes to the inside, thinks about a late braking maneuver, and oh, yes, trouble. That was there. He's going to get slowed down for that, is Collier.
Well, Jason Lundy may have thought about the late braking, but Tim Collier definitely did it. And, late braked so deep that he couldn't make the corner. And now he's going to have to do this all over again. You know, Alberto Roca has picked up a second in the last lap. It's a big ask, but it still could happen, especially if Tanaka makes a mistake.
8 minutes to go. That's like 4 laps. You would need
almost 11.
Say,
almost 11 minutes.
say, yeah, 10, 11 minutes to go. So 5 laps, perhaps.
Yeah, we're looking at about probably six laps to go. So yeah, Roca needs about 2 seconds a lap to catch up. You know, that's catching is one thing, overtaking is another. That's a common thing we've heard. Meanwhile, that mistake by Tim Collier has allowed James Hume to catch up a little bit. Hume just flirting with the edge of Collier's draft. So this fight for the Pro-Am lead between Tim Collier in 7th overall and James Hume in 8th overall is on. So Collier wants to get around Jason Lundy and get away from James Hume as much as he can. Jason Lundy doesn't really have a dog in the fight, probably doesn't really care either way, other than the pride factor of maybe losing out to a Pro-Am driver. But Tim Collier definitely wants to get in front of Jason Lundy and, in my opinion, should attack as hard as he can right now to make that happen.
Absolutely. And you're quite right. Tim Collier wants to try and put Jason Lundy in between them. At this stage, it's not going to happen. Jason Lundy has declared that he is not giving up that position easily. And so Collier has to either fight him for the position, which is risky, because if there's a contact or a mistake, that will put James Hume right on top of him. As he gets a bit loose coming out of the first chicane, James Hume is a lot closer now. This is on, Kevin. Now, there is enough time here for this to become a real battle towards the end of this race and possibly a change of position. Let's see what happens. As you see, now looks like Collier is pretty anxious to get by, but we have this big fat BMW holding them up at the moment, perhaps a little bit.
Yeah, Jason Lundy probably is holding him up. Tim Collier just can't really do anything. James Hume keeps knocking off a couple of tenths each sector to Tim Collier. So Hume is loving having Collier held up by Lundy right now. Yep.
And Lundy, of course, he's just doing what he should be doing, which is battling hard for the position. Now on the inside goes Collier. Ooh, Lundy fights back, going into Ascari and takes the position back again. And I'm pretty sure that Tim Collier is swearing all kinds of swear words inside his helmet there, Kevin.
And look at what that has done. James Hume has right up behind Tim Collier. Hume is just licking his lips watching these guys going side by side.
Yep, and once again, Collier thinking about diving to the inside. Can't make it happen there. And of course now we've got BMW. Whoa, big accident there. Collier just lost it. You see, this is what can happen when you're towards the end of the race. Now they're just in front of the pit, so hopefully they can jump in, and if they haven't used free repairs yet, they might be able to get that, Kevin. But that was ugly.
Oh man, what hard.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate, terrible, tragic. Yeah, Tim Collier just getting a little loose and parabolic. The car stepped out when he tried to correct it. Oh dear, there was James Hume in the way, and what a frustrating way to end this battle.
Yeah, and it happened right in front of the pits. They both got into the pits now. If they have not used their fast repairs, it's going to be good, but I fear that they may already have used their fast repairs because they're not coming out of the pits real quick.
Well, the surprise here is our new Pro-Am leaders are the All Balls teammates of Rick Smith and Anthony James, who have not had a lot of success in Champion Motorsports. They have had a great run today, and they are leading the class. They are on for a heck of a finish today, Richard. But it's not over because Darian Bailey is in third in the Pro-Am class, and he is less than a tenth of a second behind Anthony James for that second spot. This podium is still up for grabs.
Yeah, fantastic run from Smith and James. But I want to say this, Kevin. If both these drivers are in the pits now, James Hume and Tim Collier, if they finish the way that it is right now, Tim Collier will actually finish ahead of James Hume by virtue of the fact that his pit stall is one pit stall ahead of Hume's pit stall.
Well, no, because the finish line is at the beginning of pit lane. So who crossed that line first?
Ah, is that how it works? Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Monza's a little unique in that way because that finish line is so early. It's right at the beginning of pit lane.
Well, Hume went into the pits first. I know that.
Then Hume should get that position. Yeah.
Well, it's showing that he is actually ahead of.
Well, I guess we'll find out at the end of the race, huh, Richard?
Yeah, we certainly will. Victor Tanaka leading by 9.7 seconds last time by. Now, give us the accurate amount of time left. You guys have got the advantage of being able to see the timing and scoring, not iRacing's timing and scoring, which is always wrong, unfortunately.
We've just cleared 5 minutes. Darian Bailey looking to the inside of Anthony James, under braking for Rettifilio. Not going to happen. Bailey setting up for a good exit to get a good run through Curva Grande, but just can't get to the power. And that McLaren of Anthony James should be able to carry him easily into De La Roggia, into the lead. So this battle for second in the Pro-Am class still hot. That battle for first and second in the Pro class, though, Richard, that's done and dusted. Roca's been sitting at about a 10-second gap for the last couple laps. Yeah, but this is definitely now. You remember in the early part of the race, Darian Bailey was doing battle with may well have been these guys, and certainly this battle is on. This is for position. They're coming through the Lesmos section right now. Lesmos 1, Lesmos 2 done and dusted. They head down towards Ascari. We've got Darian Bailey trying to get second position in class from Anthony James, and Anthony James wanting to be in second place behind his teammate Rick Smith. So let's keep an eye on this one. This is a genuine battle here for position. And that battle you alluded to a moment ago, Darian Bailey was fighting with Drew Lidke and Rick Smith, Anthony James's teammate. That was, and then that had the big wreck into De La Roggia that we saw.
And I am looking at Lidke. Lidke is in fact behind Darian Bailey at the moment. Not that far back, I would say, Kevin. So one mistake from these two, if they battle too hard with each other, that may still give an opportunity, although it can't be more than a lap, at most 2 laps left to go. We may even have the white flag right now.
No, it looks like we've got 2, maybe 3 laps to go.
3 laps, okay. Well, in that case, there's a time still for Drew Lidke to get on terms with these two, and he's doing it, Kevin. He may, he's in the pro class, but still, he may make up a couple more positions, which will be important for him.
For sure, we see Anthony James struggling a little bit out of the first chicane, Rettifilio that is. But again, that McLaren just has so much better top end speed than the BMW on the run down to De La Roggia. But and we're getting word that Tom Ratchey had a wreck. He is in pit lane right now.
All right, we'll have a look at the replay. Oh gosh, hard into the wall there. Let's just check that out. He's going now the wrong way, and you have to turn his car around and get back into the pits. Actually, he was heading the right direction, but he needs to struggle back into the pits. He is in pit lane as we speak right now, And that is really unfortunate. He had a great race, just running quietly in 5th place, and he's now dropped to 6th place. His teammate Jason Lundy moving up into 5th place. Great run from Jason from 19th position, remember?
And Darian Bailey might finally have it. Gets a better run through Ascari. Anthony James made a mistake in the middle, ran over some of the sleeping policemen, did not spin it like Tom Rathje did. Bailey on the inside into Parabolica. Anthony James tries to defend, but just can't get the car to turn in. Darian Bailey taking the lead out of the exit of Parabolica, but Anthony James in the McLaren with that much greater top-end speed. And look at that McLaren go already side by side halfway down the pit straight, and easily this is going to be done for Anthony James. Now, Anthony, don't miss your braking zone. You're easily past him. Just hit your normal braking point and get into turn 1. Anthony very deep into the corner, though. Darian Bailey sets up. They're side by side through the middle of the chicane, and Bailey's going to take it away. Now, Anthony, what did I say?
Well, he's got a few more opportunities to make the pass stick again, but you're quite right there, Kevin. He overcooked it in kind of desperation to maintain the position. Look at it, coming down to that was close. Defensive driving there now from Bailey. Bailey kind of moved over on James, which could have been risky.
Another country was heard from. Drew Lidke came roaring up into that battle, got loose on the exit of De La Rocha, and lost a second and a half. He was all over them, ready to snipe a position, but not able to make it happen. Tom Rathje, by the way, has retired.
Okay, so Tom Rathje now falling down the standings. He's currently showing in 10th or 11th position. Now Lidke's still got an opportunity to get on terms, at least with James and Bailey. But right now, we need to be watching Anthony James, because Anthony James will have an opportunity coming down into the Parabolica, coming out of the Parabolica, Kevin, to perhaps go for the lead. Not for the lead, go for the position once again. It's a bit far back, though. Bailey has responded very well.
Yep, and the white flag is flying. This is the last lap these guys get. Anthony James very deep into Parabolica, really struggling to keep the car on the track right there. Drew Lidke might have a chance. No, still just not able to carry enough speed, but this may be enough for Drew Lidke to make a move on Anthony James. This is a different class battle, but it's still points up for grab in that championship hunt for Drew Lidke.
Correct. Every position up gives you an extra point or two. Now we see Anthony James once again seeing this time he gets it right. His braking point is the normal braking point. Is a lot closer now, but look at the nice launch that Bailey got out of the first chicane there at Ophelia, and now he's heading down towards Del Roger, which is the second chicane. See, I'm getting better with these names, Kevin. And you can see that I don't know whether James has enough. He's got to keep everything in reserve for that rush down towards the Parabolica and out of the Parabolica. He may still be able to do it. In fact, he can do it if he keeps his head.
And we need to get up to the front of the field because Victor Tanaka is into the Parabolica for the last time, Richard. He's about to win this sucker.
Fantastic stuff from Victor Tanaka. Good battle between himself and Umberto Roca. He showed what he had now, and Victor Tanaka just about coming across the line, takes the P1 position. Victor Tanaka, well done. Umberto Roca now crossing as well for second position. Third position coming out of the Parabolica now, Miguel El Crudo. Let's get back to that battle to see if there's any chance that James caught Bailey.
Drew Lidke lost it in Lesmo, lucky to stay out of the wall. But look at this run on Anthony James has on Darian Bailey. Going to go to the outside for Parabolica. They're going to go side by side in the last corner. It's going to be tough to do. Anthony, get that over-under, work the underneath, and get that launch. But no, Anthony James isn't going to be able to do it. Darian Bailey will take home the second place in class.
Well done, Darian Bailey. And well done to Rick Smith and Anthony James for their podium finishes in their class as well. This is some great driving. But Darian Bailey, newcomer to the series here, great drive from him. Second place in class, and what was it? That's about 7th place overall.
Well done for these folks here in the third round of the Champion Motorsports Endurance Series. Stay tuned. We'll be back on the other side with unofficial results and driver interviews.
Welcome back, folks, to the Champion Motorsports Endurance GT3 Series. Well, you know, every time we think the race is going dead on us, Kevin, it comes alive towards the end. A great race there. Great victory by Victor Tanaka, taking the first position. Umberto Rocca fought back bravely towards the end there. Ended up only just 6 seconds back from the lead, but not enough to take the victory away from Victor Tanaka. Umberto Rocca in second place. Miguel El Crudo, a quiet race for him. I'm pretty sure he liked it that way. He got the last podium spot, third place. And Paul Darling in fourth place. Fifth place was taken by Jason Lundy. Great drive from him from 19th place. Rick Smith topped the podium for the Pro-Am class. Rick Smith in 6th position. And Darren Bailey in 7th position. Anthony James in 8th position. 9th position, Drew Litke. And 10th position, Kevin, Troy Fagan.
In 11th place was Warren McGarry, whom we didn't talk a whole lot about today. Peter Hebron in 12th. 13th was Tom Rathje with that unfortunate finish to his day with the spin out of Ascari into the wall. James Hume and Tim Collier finished 14th and 15th after the heartbreak that they had in Parabolica. What a horrible way for that to end. And Hume did take that position in front of Collier and is shown a lap in front of Collier. So once again, iRacing's timing and scoring doesn't make any sense to anybody. In 16th is Kyle Herron. 17th is Jay Dargert. 18th is Ryan Bird, who did get out there and run a bunch of laps. Jarrett Lawson in 19th after parking it after that early wreck. Never came back. And sounds like we are going to hit a couple of interviews here, Richard.
Yes, indeed. And we will talk firstly to our winner today, Victor Tanaka. Kevin, do have a few words with Victor.
Victor, congratulations on the win. We haven't seen you a whole lot in Champion Motorsports. Is this your first win in the series?
It is, and hopefully not the last one.
Well, congratulations out there. It was a hard-fought race for sure. You and Humberto put on some great racing at the end of the second stint. Were you surprised to see Roca take tires, and were you worried that he might have the pace on you?
I was surprised, but I think we're both surprised. I think he was surprised he didn't take tires, and I was surprised he did take tires. So, but at the second that I saw that he was 18 seconds behind, I knew he wasn't able to be quick enough to catch me. He had to be 2 seconds a lap faster to catch me, and I knew for a fact he wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, we kind of thought that it was a bit too much of a gap, but we have too many times said that a race is over in this series, and we've been completely wrong. The other thing I want to ask you about is, were you doing any fuel saving? You stayed out what I thought was a lap extra on that first stint, and so I wanted to know if you were doing some fuel saving in that route.
So I did some fuel saving in the beginning behind Miguel. That was until I got past him. And then behind Humberto, I was trying to fuel save, but he kept going defensive. I was trying to show him that I wasn't trying to pass him, but he just kept going defensive, and I just had to make something, because if we kept doing that, Miguel was actually going to catch us at some point, which is actually what I thought he would do, and I thought he was pulling me back so Miguel could catch us, but yeah, I did some fuel saving, but by myself, I was always pushing.
Well, congratulations. That was a well-run race, and some fantastic battles, some fantastic action in your battle with Humberto Roca that we enjoyed, and I'm sure you enjoyed as well.
Oh yeah, it was amazing to drive. Hopefully it was amazing for you guys to watch too. It's pretty exciting stuff. I think that my teammate Jarrett, he was more afraid and more scared than I was while we were battling. Actually pretty calm.
Well, thanks for stopping in to talk with us tonight, Victor.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Well, that is the interview with our winner today, Victor Tanaka. Well-deserved first place. Well, now we are going to speak to Jason Lundy. Jason Lundy is with us in the booth at the moment. Jason, a terrific drive from 19th position, effectively last position on the grid. up into 5th place. Tell us about your run today.
In practice, we really struggled in the BMW. You know, it's the slowest car this season, and so we weren't expecting much. That's kind of the mindset I went in with. But the first couple laps, we seemed to have pretty good pace. I guess it was the draft keeping us on the tail of everyone. And then from there, it was just about keeping the nose of the car clean and staying out of a few incidents I saw on track. And then for my pit stop, my final stop, I decided not to take tires. And that got me out in front of Tim Collier, and thankfully I was able to hold on.
Yeah, and look, you didn't put in a qualifying time that I can see here. Why was that?
I had to penalize myself from the last race.
Okay. Well, look, that's a good run from you, definitely. 19th place to 5th place, that's in any race, that's a great run. A bit of commiseration to your teammate, Tom Rathy, who in the late stages of the race there had an unfortunate kiss with the wall.
Yeah, he came over our TeamSpeak channel and said he couldn't believe what he just did in Ascari, and sure enough, I noticed his car disappeared off the relative into the pits, so that was real unfortunate, because Tom has been our ace driver this season, so it really sucks to see him lose that top 5. And then also James, he was running right behind me, behind Tim Collier, and he would have won the Pro-Am class if they hadn't come together, but yeah, that's racing sometimes.
Absolutely it is, and this series certainly has brought a few surprises and some really, really great racing. So, Jason, thanks for talking to us today, and best of luck going forward into the other races.
All right, thank you, Richard.
Okay, now we have one more to speak with. That is James Hume, teammate, of course, in Puffin Racing. Kevin, go ahead.
James, we'll get to your heartbreaking finish in a moment, but first I want to ask you about the start of the race, well, the first large portion of the race, where you were nose to tail with Tim Collier for most of it, but kept looking like Tim was bailing out of any chance to pass you. Did you notice that? Were you thinking about that at all?
Yeah, he and Anthony and I had been pretty close all race, and I think he was maybe content to use the draft to try to conserve some tire and some fuel along the way, and just keep that striking distance. It was a great battle with him through the first stint, for sure, but I noticed that he had several opportunities to pass me on the front straight and didn't take them, so I was, in the back of my head, I think I was hoping he would, so that way I could save a little bit of fuel and try to pull a little bit less. But unfortunately, things didn't happen that way.
Yeah, and then after the final stint, you had a bit of a gap on Collier, and then you were. Oh wait, now I'm getting confused. So let's just go to the wreck at the end in Parabolica. Tell us what happened from your point of view.
Well, Jason and I were on the radio a little bit, and it seemed like Tim was sliding around, maybe in some of the entry points, maybe through Lesmo and such, trying to get around Jason. But Jason's line was really good, and he was able to hold him up, so I was able to close that gap. I took fresh tires twice. I was taking a gamble, hoping that the length of the pit stop wouldn't be too much, and I was able to close that gap, and then I got a good run coming out of Ascari, and by the time we hit Parabolica, I tried to take the outside, and Tim got just a little bit loose and tried to save it, and that last brake check ended up taking us out, but that's racing.
Yeah, now what we were wondering was, had you already used up your reset? Because we wondered why neither one of you came back out on track.
It's kind of embarrassing, honestly. I couldn't remember which black box button the fast repair was under, and by the time I had found it, I was already in the pit stall, and there was nothing really I could do at that point because I had an 8-minute and some odd second required repairs.
Oh, bummer. What a frustrating finish to the race. Thanks for stopping in and talking with us tonight.
Thanks for having us, guys. I'd like to thank Puffin Racing, CMS, and the GSRC guys, as always, for doing a great job.
And that was the 257 of James Hume, Richard.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Well, this series continues to surprise us a little bit. The quality is very high, there's no doubt about it. Some terrific racing, particularly at the front there between Victor and Umberto. Lots of side-by-side racing as well. Smallish field today, but going forward to the other races, no doubt that will increase. I think, Kevin, the weather had a bit to do with people staying away today.
Yeah, it may have been that hot weather, not easy to deal with. May also have been a bit of an effect of people getting a little tired of Monza after the Bump Fun Endurance Series. I think a bunch of these guys in Champion Motorsports were running that race over the weekend, so possibly. So I guess, low entries, but I'm sure it'll bounce back for the next round.
Absolutely. Very, very good racing. I'm very impressed indeed every time we come to this series, which is the Endurance Series, as well as the Sprint Series. So we look forward to the next race. But we do come to the end of the broadcast, and as usual, we need to thank a few people. So we always start by thanking the organizers of the series for their hard work in managing this and their other series as well, of course. We also thank iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer and Ava Media for providing us with the software and the hardware which we use for the broadcasts. Thanks also to the broadcast team today. Kevin, great call. Director Joe Peak, and of course spotter Amjad Yaman for helping out there, as well as Dougie Beard for providing us with some very, very good camera setups to catch all the action. Now, if you'd like to find out more about GSRC, our website is globalsimracingchannel.com. Go there and you will find our full broadcast schedule. In case you haven't already seen our slideshow, which shows the upcoming races, but our broadcast schedule is on our website along with archived races and race highlights as well. We're also on Facebook, and it's facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. You can also catch us on Twitter and send us a message there. Our handle is @GSR Channel. A very special thank you to the people, the two of them who provide music for our broadcasts. That is Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. Some great music that we use and enjoy. You will find their music not only here on GSRC, but also in TV commercials, movie trailers, even on iTunes and Spotify. If you like their music, check out Eric's website at ericekholm.com. And you can also contact Casey Lalonde at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Thank you, viewers, for watching. And as usual, at the end of any broadcast, we say race clean, race hard, and we will see you on track.